Politician Jess Phillips, who's a Labour MP for Birmingham, has decided to attack a former Prime Minister, Liz Truss, for appearing on a podcast called The Lotuseaters, which is run by UKIP candidate and former UKIP member, I believe, Carl Benjamin, who a few years ago garnered some attention for some dissident comments that he made towards Jess Phillips, which on hindsight he probably regrets. The reason why they're attacking the former Prime Minister for going on is because she was questioning the prevailing orthodoxy of the Liberal elite and Westminster, and this is an actual podcast that was able to give her point a hearing, instead of blaming her for everything. They actually allowed her to speak, which was nice. The problem with the podcast for the elites and the problem with the podcast for most of the media is because they're not Ofcom regulated and they can actually say things that are not Ofcom approved at the moment. A lot of people would deem that to be problematic when most of their views are relatively mild, most of their views are relatively centrist. And they are people of conviction. So you may not necessarily agree with what they're saying, but you can at least agree that there's a genuine belief that what they're saying is correct, and they have facts to back it up. The problem with Jess Phillips is the same thing that we find with every politician, is you cannot believe a word that they say. The only thing I know about Jess Phillips is that she hates Tories. And the reason why I know she hates Tories is because she told us she hates Tories. She's said it on multiple TV shows. She hates Tories. Now, why does she hate Tories? She hates Tories because she's been told to hate Tories. She's not actually given a specific reason for why, just that she's been brought up to hate Tories. So that's the example of a groupthink. They're not actually putting forward a reasoned argument or an actual policy point of why they disagree. It's just, I hate you, you're team blue. I hate you, you're team red. There's no actual thinking there. There's no actual debate going on. Now, I'm of a view that you should be able to debate all points of view, and you should be able to debate all angles of a policy point, and then come up with the way forward. If you shut down dissenting voices and you shut down voices that you don't necessarily agree with, then how can you get to a best outcome? Because you're not hearing all sides, you're hearing people parrot the same points that you agree with, and you're not actually moving the debate forward. And you can't move the debate forward because you're not hearing anything but what you've already deemed is the appropriate course of action. So, if you ask me to pick between the Lotuseaters and Jess Phillips, who is just a politician, I'm going to pick the Lotuseaters. Now, granted, that's not a particularly high bar because of the calibre of politicians in the country is that low. But those are my thoughts on that point. I just seen this story and I had to get it off my chest because it was just pissing me off. Pardon the language. Thank you. See you on the next one.